We'd like to call a special meeting of the Cumberland Fire District Fire Committee to order for May 26th at 6:50. If you can stand for a moment of silence and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty. Any general announcements? There's no consent agenda. Old business. Resolution FC 2016-R21. Formal resolution on the 2016-2017 budget for a second vote. Resolution passed the 2016-2017 budget as attached on pages 2 and 3. Whereas the Cumberland Fire Committee took the required first vote on May 24th and it passed 5-2. Whereas the Cumberland Fire District Committee is required to take a second vote. Resolve the Cumberland Fire District Committee vote and approve the operating budget for 2017 in the amount of $7,580,232.76 as attached hereto and labeled with this resolution number. Pleasure of the board. Motion by Commissioner Champagne. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parent. We've pretty much gone over this with the fine-tooth comb, but is there any light questions? Something that's not been asked, something that's not been gone over. It's been going over, we're going to pass by it.
Well, Mr. Chairman, we'll pass by it, but I just voiced my concerns about it as I previously have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of passing our second budget, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Passes 5-2. Second item, Resolution 2016-22. Resolution that the operational tax rate for the Cumberland Fire District be $2.08 per thousand. Whereas the Cumberland Fire Committee has adopted a budget under Resolution 21. Whereas the Cumberland Fire Committee has determined a base or operational tax rate of $2.08. Whereas the Cumberland Fire Committee adopts any exemptions, the adjusted tax rate will be determined by an upcoming resolution number 23. Resolved, the Cumberland Fire District Fire Committee approves the base or operational tax rate of $2.08 per thousand. Pleasure of the board. Motion by Commissioner Champagne. Second by Commissioner Mata. Any comments?
Mr. President?
Sure.
The tax rate is based upon the approved budget, even though I was in the minority. Because I am in the minority, I will vote in favor of the new tax rate. Not for any, but I still voice my concerns for that budget. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-1. Next item, 2016-23, resolution that the Cumberland Fire District provide for value exemptions for a reduced tax cost to seniors, veterans, and blind. This is the same resolution we did last year, so I'm not going to read through it. We've had it for adequate time. But the resolution resolved is that we'll be adding approximately 4 cents to the operational tax rate passed in Resolution 22 for a total of $2.12. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Champagne.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Roulette. Any comments on this one? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay, tax assessment levy. Rather than read it verbatim, this is the resolution that allows us to collect the taxes or the levy. In the first section, you always put a variance in case the assessment or the values change, either increase or decrease. I don't ever remember seeing a swing needed, but I'm told that financially in municipal financing, that's the responsible thing to do. Then there's just language stating when the assessment is effective and where and how it gets passed to us. And then it says that the tax rate shall be due and payable on the 15th, but then it breaks out to specify the 4 payments that we had committed to going to. It has got to be understood, though, that if somebody chooses to make a payment on the 1st of July, 15th of July, and then on the 20th of October, we don't receive the second payment, it's just not that second payment that is due. The whole tax bill becomes due. If someone doesn't make any payment at all as of the 20th of July, again, the quarterly payment process is null and void, and the whole tax bill is due. You have a question?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the one that I sent to Diane. It's different than what you have. Because the one that you have talks about what the Cumberland clerk is supposed to do. I'm just trying to find this one. Nope. Okay, was that from I'm sorry, you gotta give me a minute. Here it is. Okay. So for section 3, instead of having the tax assessor shall access and apportion said tax on the inhabitants, etc., I changed that to the Cumberland Fire District Finance Director shall proceed and collect said tax from persons and estates liable therefore unless the law otherwise provides. I took out sections 3 and sections 4 because, again, those relate to the town of Cumberland.
Section 4. Section 4 specifies that the clerk shall pass on the assessment to the Cumberland Finance Director.
Right. This is not the Cumberland Finance Director.
Okay, so we make an amendment to put Cumberland.
Right. So what I'm saying is we should delete sections 3 and 4 and change those to read section 3. The Cumberland Fire District Finance Director shall proceed and collect said tax from persons and estates liable therefore unless by law otherwise provided. That's amendment number 1. I also changed section 5 because it just didn't read very well. But I guess it says virtually the same thing. I just didn't like the way it read. So I would make that one amendment. I'm suggesting it. Okay? Diane, do you agree? Or 4. And I'm just changing it to you will proceed and collect said tax. Okay?
Okay.
So we just need that amendment. Someone can say so moved.
So moved.
Is there a second? Could you just read that one more time so it's clear?
So it would take out sections 3 and 4 and replace them with section 3. The Cumberland Fire District Finance Director shall proceed and collect said tax from persons and estates liable therefore unless by law otherwise provided.
On the amendment, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. On the resolution as amended, is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Champagne, second by Commissioner Parent. Any other final questions? Hearing none.
Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I know thought was given to this process. I wish there had been a working session in regards to it. I know there was a meeting.
Sorry, Mr. Cucciani, I don't understand what you mean by working session.
Well, to talk about this particular working session, the committee or the finance committee meeting in a working session to talk about whether, dividing it into 4 payments.
We did. We had a finance meeting on a Saturday, and we went over in pretty detail.
Well,
And then we had a meeting.
I was there at that. Sorry.
Then we had a meeting with a person who was in charge of that task force, and we went over it pretty well then. So we had 2 meetings on this, in fact.
And I was there at that Saturday meeting.
Right.
And there was a discussion. It was a discussion, and the discussion also involved whether there had to be 4, whether 3 payments or 2 payments would be a better way of doing it.
I made a commitment tonight just to come in here and get these done and go on.
Well,
but no, Mr. Cucciani, there was no discussion about what you just said. The discussion was about a quarterly payment process. You asked, specifically just you, so it wasn't discussion, if we could do that. We determined we couldn't. Then we had a task force committee meeting. You didn't attend. It was discussed at that point, and now here we are. So.
Can I just say one thing? Sure. I only want to add this because it would be a legal issue. Last year, when we only had 1 payment, we had a representative, after we sent out the bills, try to reverse everything we did, which would have cost tens of thousands of dollars. So I would expect if you did not do a quarterly payment, the same thing would happen, that we would be forced to do a quarterly payment by the House, by the General Assembly. That's what they would, you remember that, right?
I remember a discussion in regards to that. I have a difference of opinion.
Oh, no. What I'm saying is, Representative Macbeth, after we sent out the bills for 1 payment, introduced a bill that the chairman and I went to testify on that would have required us to reverse everything that we did and reissue bills for quarterly payments, not biannual, quarterly. And basically she said, if you don't do this coming year, then I will be submitting new legislation to require it. So basically, if we don't do this, we're going to be forced to do it, and it may cost the district a lot of money to reverse what is going to happen. The process is going to start by issuing bills. That's all I'm saying is, notwithstanding your discussions, there's another thing out there that people are watching you. And if you don't do quarterly payments, the state is going to make you do quarterly payments. That's my only point.
Well, and I appreciate those comments, and I remember Karen Macbeth introducing, Representative Macbeth introducing it. I have further discussed this matter with her. I don't think the law specifically applies to quarterly payments for the fire district. I have a difference of opinion. And I thought that the additional elements of going from 1 single payment to 4 payments with the additional amount of work and the additional amount of expense, I would ask, and I have talked briefly this morning with the finance directly, I think, do we have an average residential bill? Do you know what an average tax bill might be?
Mr. Cucciani.
I'm asking.
Mr. Cucciani, please talk to the chair. Number
Okay.
1. Number 2, this is getting into an area that we're not going to change. We've made a commitment to the town of Cumberland that we're doing quarterly payments. You had an opportunity at 2 different meetings to explore this and expand the discussion. You chose not to go to the meeting. For whatever reason, I'm sure it was important. But the fact of the matter is that we've made a commitment. I'm not going to get into all kinds of discussion tonight on something that's not going to change. So maybe next year, in next June, January, February, if we're all here, you want to go ahead and start that change, we can do that at that time. But all this discussion is about not, because we're not changing it. We made a commitment to the town of Cumberland that we're doing quarterly payments, and that's that. I'm not going to go back on my word, and I don't think anybody else here is either. If you want to go against your word or against the department's presentation, that's your choice. You can vote no.
Mr. Chairman, don't say I'm going against my word, and so don't say I didn't attend the meeting. I did attend one meeting. There was one meeting I couldn't attend. Geez, I apologize.
Right, but the fact of the matter is, we had the meetings. No, Mr. Kutsiani.
If I could,
we had,
please.
No, I'm calling the question.
No, if I could, please. I've attended every single other meeting.
It's for naught, Mr. Kutsiani. I'm not doing it.
Well, you don't have to do it then.
Yeah, you're right. Call the question, Mr. Champagne, please. Champagne calls the question. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Amato. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Opposed? It passes 7-0.
I abstain.
Okay, abstain. I went back against my word tonight. Jeez. Any other comments relative to what's presented? Hearing none. All those in favor of Resolution 2016-24 as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Passes 5 to 1 abstain.
No, Jim voted in favor of it.
I'm sorry, 6 to 1 abstain. Sorry, Jim. 6 to 1 abstain. Next item is public input. Having none, next item is adjournment. Motion by Commissioner Parent to adjourn, second by Commissioner Amato. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you.